injury, is Brad okay with that?
We'll see where he is. If not, I mean, if he doesn't go this week, he ought to be fine by the bowl.
And with him, it's interesting. He's going to have the two, assuming he plays again, he'll have the two best seasons in terms of carries, two most carries in a season. And between that, he had the knee surgery. Would you have, when you saw him over the summer on crutches recovering, would you have anticipated he would have been able to have this kind of workload?
No, sir. Nope. To go through that, it's not. I don't want to say it's completely unreal in terms of what's happened. It's possible. He's proven that it's possible. But to answer your question.
And how extensive was that, operation? Was it a cleanup or was it?
A good bit of it was. And yet he really wasn't able to get going until July as far as starting to move and lift and run. And he was reduced volume and reduced contact there the first couple of weeks of August. And yet he doesn't take that well when you tell him it needs to be reduced volume. He's likes getting right in the middle of it.
And, obviously every week establishing the running game, establishing the fullback is important. In this game, because of their history of stopping the run, history of the series, is it more so? And do you feel more confident about the other options in the offense that you have?
Well, they're good. They're really, really good. And, I think you start just with the caliber of players they have, over the years, as they do this year. I mean, they've had some tremendous football players. I think they've done as good a job in our league, probably the last, 12, 14 years of doing a really, really good job playing complementary football. When you look at it, their defense doesn't play a ton of snaps because they get off on third down. And offensively, they help where there also aren't a bunch of series that their defense has to play too. And you'd like to, for what you're asking, sure, you'd like for some various elements to be involved. That does mean being able to extend some drives, which does not happen that often against them.
And, when you look at your passing numbers, you're attempting fewer passes than you have in many, many years. Is that just a byproduct of what Brad has done in the middle, or
probably, yeah.
There's another reason for that?
No, I think that's probably a good bit of it. You've been able to have some success with some of your carries. That's been a factor. And I'd say that's probably the driving factor as much as anything. Because you still look when you do attempt throws. I mean, I think, when you look yards per attempt or yards per completion, it's still been really, really, really productive, nationally. Could it be something maybe you could do more? Certainly.
Is that last week you, Army, Navy all won without throwing a pass. Is that a bigger trend that's developing with your offenses, or is this just kind of an anomaly? Like I said,
I think it's an anomaly. Yeah, I understand why you asked, though. I mean, that's a pretty rare thing. Yeah.
And when you look at them, individually, how different are they from years past, or is it kind of, as you look at them, kind of the typical San Diego State?
Well, I don't want to say that because, you always they have different changes and they evolve. Probably where they have had great continuity is defensively. I mean, just the structure and the system that they have in play. And then with Jeff Horton being involved on the offensive side here the last 6 weeks, there's really, really good continuity on that side of the ball too. I do think who they have in there at quarterback is giving them an enormous amount of juice. He was a guy that was a great player in high school. Where was he out of? He was out of DFW. Maybe it was Garland or that area. And was a guy that, was highly sought as a player. And to be able to get that kind of transfer and to see how good he's been so suddenly is really impressive, especially he didn't come into the season necessarily thinking he was going to be a quarterback. So, that's as rare as it gets. It's probably It's like for the old Baltimore Colts when Tom Mattie's playing running back and he's wearing number 41 or whatever, and he's got to go in there as a game as a quarterback. So, I mean, he's been tremendous.
So he didn't come into the season as a quarterback?
Well, I think there were some other spots where he was playing a little bit.
Other offensive skill spots, though, right?
Well, I mean, maybe on both sides and on special teams. I mean, he is super talented.
Was he a guy on your radar as a recruit?
He was not. Would we have liked to? Yeah, we would have liked to. Yeah.
Have you had a lot of overlap in recruiting, especially at quarterback with them because they have had some mobile?
No, sir.
And then defensively, how do you still see some remnants of the Rocky Long era, or is it a totally redone approach?
Yeah, you do see remnants. Yes, sir. And then their own additions, certainly, just the influence that they have. Some of the stuff, a little bit of what they did when they were at Michigan, too. So it's kind of a blending of those two systems, at least in what we study and what we prepare.
And going to a new stadium, you mentioned, their program a couple weeks ago, talking about Rocky Long, kind of the trajectory they're on. But, what are your overall thoughts about where that program is now in terms of infrastructure and resources?
Yeah, I mean, I think, I always think what are really, really good indicators, maybe some of the renovations that you do, and they didn't do a renovation. They did a brand new build. You look at the number of guys, I mean, the sheer volume, the number of guys they've had drafted. There's a reason why they deserve to be a Power 5 school, if you will. And not only the number of guys they've had drafted, but the number of guys they've had drafted in the first 5 rounds. Just the quality of guys that they have, and they're going to have a good number off this current team, too.
And going into a new building, is there anything preparation-wise you do differently to go in and scout it out?
No, sir, we don't. If it's ever where you think lighting could be a factor, then maybe you do. Like the first time we went and played in Globe Life, we thought it was important to get in there just last year, just to get a good number of your guys acclimated, to field, or a lot of it's the visuals. We do not, though. No, we won't for this one.
After clinching the Falcon Ram Trophy, what was that conversation sort of like after the game, heading into your last game in Mountain West?
I just thought we practiced really well that week, and we need to practice really well this week, and we move on. That's regardless of outcome. You get in there early Sunday, you grade your film, or late Saturday, and you go through the film and pull and try and take lessons and learn and digest. And there are just so many new ways that you can grow. And you grow by, one, reinforcing the things that you did well and make sure that we teach and point those out. And here's why we were able to be successful on a block or in a particular coverage. And then some other things where we want to improve or change. And our guys are pretty methodical and pretty disciplined that way.
And then I just mentioned one of your achievements, clinching that trophy after your last game. I know you still have one more game left in the Mountain West, but looking back on this season, have you had any, have you had a second to just sit down and think of one of your prouder moments this season or one of your favorites the team's achieved?
No, not right now. I mean, it's maybe there'll be a time for that. But, you kind of, the way it goes, you complete one game, and then you get in a 48-hour living in a silo or a submarine here from about 1 o'clock Sunday till about 1 o'clock on Tuesday, where you're just immersed in your next game. And so you guys probably don't catch me at a great time on Tuesdays at 12:30. If you want to move it to Wednesday, it might be a little more enjoyable in here.
And then is there anything else you want to talk about San Diego State, their program, just any challenges that they present on the field?
Oh, goodness, yeah. I mean, enormous challenges. You're right. I think you just look over the years how well they've been able to run the football, how well they've been able to play action, how well they've been able to create some nakeds and bootlegs off those play actions, how well they've been able to utilize a mobile quarterback in various ways, how good they are up front on offense, and because of it, you can tell how well they play up front on defense too, and the way they're able to help both sides of the ball that way. And they're tremendous. They really are, and it shows in what they do in football. It shows. Last night, Ohio State's pretty darn good in basketball, and you look who Ohio State played and the team they played against. It's not very often you say that about a Big Ten team, especially Ohio State in basketball, and you said, boy, the team Ohio State played last night, my goodness, are they put together, and do they rebound and box out and defend? And, well, it was San Diego State, so.
So, going into San Diego State, are you guys aware of the history in this series? Like the players, do you know how the last decade has gone?
Yes, I believe we only won once out of 10 years. I think so.
Yeah.
Correct me if I'm wrong.
Yeah, it's been a pretty long streak.
Yeah.
Like, is that something that, I mean, you guys have only been a part of one of those, but is that something that means something, when you look back at that?
Definitely it means some, obviously we don't want the streak to continue. We played them last year and we lost, and it was a tough loss. But, yeah, I mean, we just take it one game after another, and it's just the next game.
What do you remember about that game? Maybe the physicality of it, or any other details you remember?
Yeah, so San Diego State was definitely really physical, and that was the one thing that struck us, at least on the defensive side, was just the way they came off the ball and the way they ran the ball. They're definitely pretty physical, so we just got to bring the physicality to them this game.
And defensively, do you guys feel like you're peaking? Are you playing as well as you have all season right now?
I don't think we're peaking. I mean, we have definitely some stuff we need to work on, defensive backs and, up front and stuff. So I don't think we are at our peak. I still think we haven't played our best game, which we need to play our best game.
And as you evaluate your season, what are some of your thoughts on where you've excelled and what do you still want to improve at?
I feel like I need to improve definitely my tackling. Definitely my eye vision sometimes can be lackluster in terms of where my eyes at, reading my keys and stuff. I feel like I improved a little bit, at least from last year. It was man-to-man coverage. I feel like I did a better job there, but there's still some work to be done in terms of the areas.
And, just seeing the tweet Air Force football put out of the locker room after that game, you guys were pretty excited to beat CSU. And, where's the morale of the team right now? Is it pretty high, riding a 3-game winning streak, coming off of that? Like, for being in week 12 or what, are you guys still pretty excited about things?
Oh, yeah, we're pretty excited, but we know that, we got a good opponent coming in, and we need to all be focused. So morale might be high, but we need to get to work this week.
And where will you have Thanksgiving dinner? Will that be here, or are you going to do it out in San Diego?
So I think we're going to do it here. I think it's going to be position groups. Go have Thanksgiving with the position group. So for me, and the DBs and stuff will go have the Coach Toph, and the corners will go have Coach Jackson.
And you've done that several years now, right?
Yes,
Are
sir.
you getting pretty used to it, or is it still kind of? Do you miss the traditional way to celebrate?
I miss the traditional ways, but this is actually a good way to celebrate with the coach, with your teammates and stuff, players. So it'd be really nice to get together and stuff and have Thanksgiving dinner with them.
Cool. Are you excited to go see a new stadium?
Yes, sir.
What does that mean? Do you, when you do something like that, is it exciting to lay down, hey, we won the first game here, or what kind of goes through your mind?
I'm just excited to have better weather. Especially like last game, it was pretty cold. I'm excited to, have some decent weather, not wear a hand warmer, not wear a long sleeve, just better conditions than what we did last week.
Understandable.
After the win this last weekend, is there a level of excitement, heading into y'all's final game of Mountain West play?
Besides just the next game, that's the exciting one. You're only given, 11 games, maybe 12 games, in the season, and it's just the next game. We're excited to get this game going on and see if we can come out with the W.
And then, moving forward, you're about to reach the end of the season. Looking back, I know we kind of touched on where you've seen yourself individually, where you've excelled, but as the team overall, is there like a favorite part of the season that you've had so far?
Favorite part of the season? Definitely getting the Commander Chiefs Trophy. That was definitely the favorite part. Bringing that back home really means a lot to this organization, to all the players and stuff. Getting that back home was definitely probably my favorite part.
Thank you.
Thanks, Cammy. Going into San Diego State, kind of the one knock on the season has been running the ball against some of the better defenses. How much do you look forward to fixing that, now that you've got another one of those teams on the schedule?
It'll be fun. Like, we always enjoy playing the good defenses. It's always a good challenge. Like, it helps our record. Like, play better teams makes us look better. So we always like it. We played against good teams in the past and won some, lost some. So we're excited for it. I'm excited to play against a good team again. So it'll be fun.
And are you aware of the history against San Diego State for Air Force? At least recently, the last decade or so?
I know while I've been here, we haven't won against them. So I don't know the long history behind it. So
Yeah,
No.
it's been fairly long.
yeah.
So is that extra motivation, or is that something you even care about?
Oh, I care about it. Like, we lost last year, and I don't like losing. So definitely, I want to get after them. Go out to their place and beat them. It'll be fun. Because last year we were undefeated on the road, besides the Army game, which is technically a neutral site. So I like the road games. So it'll be fun.
And what do you remember about San Diego State last year?
They were a good team. They were a really good team. One of the better ones we played. One of the better defenses we played. So I'm excited to get a little redemption and get back after them. So.
Yeah, and their defensive front has always been one of the better ones Air Force has seen. Like, do you remember that, like the size and physicality of them, or does it all kind of blend together?
No, they were definitely one of the bigger, more physical teams. They had last year they had one of the two best pass rushers in the league last year for Mountain West, and we were like, okay, we don't pass the ball, but they were really good. They were much bigger than other D linemen. So.
And have you had a chance to study them yet, like look at film, or is it still so early in the week that?
No, we look at the fronts. Like, we don't really in our offensive line room, we don't really look at other teams like personnel, because it doesn't really. We just do our job. Like, we just go against who's in front of us. But we look what they're doing. So we look at the fronts. They're running the 8-man 4-3. We look at scheme wise what they're doing, not really what their bodies are like, what their techniques are. So.
Do they tend to, against you guys, do they stack the box a little more than some others, because they're usually pretty athletic on the edges where they can maybe trust some guys in more one-on-one situations?
Yeah, they're not running a 50, so they're putting more guys in the box for this game. So definitely will be a fun game. We're going to just run after them. We're just going to run our game. So.
And, coming off a 3-game winning streak, having a big emotional win on Saturday, like, where do things stand, with the team? Are you guys feeling pretty energized, at this point in the season?
Yeah, everyone's really excited to go to California. We'll get out of the cold. I'm excited to go after Thanksgiving, so it'll be good. I think it'll be a really fun game to go out there. So, yeah, everyone's really excited to go out there.
And what's it like with the offensive line eating Thanksgiving dinner together? Like, do you guys, is it just an embarrassing amount of food that is put in front of you?
I don't know, because last year we did it at the Marriott with the whole team, so all the families were there. So, but this is the first time we'll actually be together for Thanksgiving. So I'm excited to see how much food we eat.
What's your dish of choice?
Oh, I love mac and cheese.
Mac and cheese.
Oh yeah.
That's a Thanksgiving thing.
So yeah, me and my friend Aiden, who's from Mississippi, we were asking people, and we figured out everyone from the South. If your family's from the South, everyone likes mac and cheese is a staple for Thanksgiving. But if you go more north or west, there's no mac and cheese anywhere. And so far we've been pretty spot on. So yeah, mac and cheese is my favorite. So.
That's great. Any thoughts on going to a new stadium and just absorbing a new environment?
Yeah, I love the away games. I love going on the road and going to see new places, new teams. It's a lot different. I love traveling, so I love the away games. I always have a lot of fun there. So I'm excited to see the new stadium they have.
Cool.
I actually got nothing, but mac and cheese is my favorite too.
Yeah.
Being from the South.